This one's about the mutations, just so I can try to drive the point home. I got a comment yesterday from someone, which is one of the philosophies that people come up with to face the overwhelming disaster of Fukushima and other aspects of the nuclear war that we're in the middle of right now. And the philosophy goes something like this. It's under the heading of a New Age approach to reality. And while I will give it to you, I say that it is a part of reality, but it's not taking everything into account. So it's a very partial, incomplete approach. And it goes like this. It says, don't let anything affect you. It's part of the psychic attack that they have. It's part of the design they have to break down your resolve or your soul and your resistance. It's all part of this psychological thing, and just don't let it affect you. Just block it out and keep thinking that it can't do anything. And also there's probably herbs that you can use, and there's plants, and so these kind of things are going to protect your body. Okay, so that's pretty much it. You could use different words to describe it, but this is a stance that quite a few people are taking. It's not rare. And I want to warn everybody about this because, first of all, that has nothing to do with any animals, sea life, or plant life. It has nothing to do with that because they're not going to be able to understand that. If it's a human defense and you want to play the mind over matter, merely that, with nothing else. This is advice that is telling you you don't have to do anything else. Take this from a person who's about as spiritual as anyone can get. I'm a mystic. I've been out there. I've done things that the common person, the average person in the cities and the modern world can't even comprehend, let alone would go out there and try it by themselves. You're talking about modern shamanism. I've been there and done that. But even so, I'm not going to tell you to go out there and do this harebrained, nonsense. We have to fight this problem with machines, and if we don't see the government or the official agencies doing it, we have to come up with it. This is the cause. This is the wake-up call that we really need to start organizing and putting action into motion. We've been talking a lot about philosophy here. We've been sharing a lot of information, but the time for just dealing in information and talk is way far gone. We have to enter a phase of significant action, and I'm talking about people's action. I will head up a people's action, and I'm telling you, it has to be with total coherence, competence, comprehension of what the reality is. This is not going to go away. I said that I was going to talk about mutations so that it can hit home. The commenter and other people that hold to this philosophy are not really considering the children, say the unborn in the wombs, because they are susceptible. Not only is it virtually impossible to train them in spiritual techniques if they're not just born with it, adepts or prodigies. It takes many years for the human brain to develop. We're not born like deer or pigs or squirrels. We don't come out running and eating nuts and grass. We come out helpless. We can't even crawl, barely. They're supposed to be able to, but actually in the hospital, they don't let them. They swaddle them up, which has its uses, but that incapacitates the young human individual to 2 or 3 years of uselessness, total dependency on adults, from the physical to the mental and upwards. They are wonderful. All of us started as that. The babies remind us of things, the innocence and the wonder and the joy, but total irresponsibility and helplessness. Now, I have this to say to the commenter and anyone else who wants to tamper with my approach to a world-scale extinction-level event. It cannot be wished away, and you cannot even begin to tell that to the children of this day. You cannot tell them, just wish it away, kids. Yeah, wish it away off of your body. When you get one of those particles in your body, or if it's in you when you're developing in the womb, you're going to have the onset of mutations that have never been seen in the world. Maybe in all the horror movies that these freakazoids have been making for the past few decades, with monsters and beasts and just crazy deformities. They're actually going to be happening with the human souls that are coming into the planet now. Witness, if you will, the hard evidence that they've been trying to cover up because the Russians are embarrassed, completely embarrassed and ashamed, and are still looking down the barrel of a nuclear gun. Chernobyl is not over by a long shot with, I think, 172 tons of material that will never go away with the technology that we have or can foresee to have without this cooperation that I'm calling on. 172 tons of radioactive material that will be hot and deadly for another, 100,000 years in a sarcophagus that won't hold it for more than another 10 or 20 years. So what are you going to do? Mutations all around. The evidence is there, the pictures are there. The things that I've seen when I've just scratched the surface, the people and the souls that have suffered, you cannot face this with the nonsense of wishful dreaming. It's not about positive thinking. Positive thinking is kind of a little intro, get yourself ready, warm up. It's not the actual exercise, it's not the actual game, it's not the competition, it's not the fight of your life. It's just a little warm-up exercise. And to come to me and tell me something like that, I'm starting to get a little pissed on all sides. So we just need to be facing reality here. The mutations are real. The children are susceptible. If the radiation contaminates the womb, that process, if it gets into the sexual genome, the chromosomes are damaged. When you build life upon that, you are going to come up with something that is not recognizable. I just want to throw in a little comparison here to ancient history, because we know that from mythology we hear a lot of beasts and things. In the Greek, they have a Medusa with the crazy head and this, and she can freeze people with her gaze. And then we have a giant dog thing with 3 heads. There's a Hydra, there's a this, a that. Perhaps the Greeks in the ancient time, I'm talking about the early Greeks, the one who fought with the evil, warlike Atlanteans. These are the heroic Greeks, prior to all the philosopher Greeks of the ones that we know of, that I have information that these Greeks fought them, and these were the true ancestors of the Greeks, if they should be called Greeks or perhaps something else. But at that time, they had all their stories, as other cultures did. But just to focus on the Greeks itself. This is Sparta! They fought beasts. Where did these beasts come from, might I ask? They are mutants. How else would they be so obviously mutation, deformed, anomalies, what have you, not normal, combinations, just monstrosity. And they would be cursed. And there were many stories of having to fight them or having to avoid them, or even some may have been benevolent, but these things existed. Cyclops, what kind of a giant with one eye? How did they get formed? How is this possible? For people that want to say, however, that radiation, maybe that could be a good thing, you know? Maybe it's the advancement or evolution of our species. You know, we'll go from Homo sapiens to Homo mutations. You know, this is ridiculous thinking, almost as bad as the nonsense of the wish it all away, don't let it affect you. No, don't let it affect you means don't face reality and don't think about what's really going on. You're going to die anyhow. You can't put a little aloe vera on a boo-boo. You can't put a little aloe vera on a three-armed child with a brain tumor and a skull swelled to the size of an elephant. You can't put aloe on that and wish, oh yeah, everything's okay. Don't let it affect you. All right, I'm sick and tired. I've said enough. And I know that you, my viewers, are right on it with me, on point, and you get what I'm saying. So we're going to charge forward. Only those who get it, who are like, you know, aware, we know the reality and we know what caused it. Next thing I'm going to tell you is we need a major wake-up call to the world. I'm going to line up those responsible in front of a firing squad. And then when the world sees that, they're going to see, well, somebody's finally taking care of business. It's not just talk anymore. They're going to be quaking in their boots right now and shaking. Who's this? Well, you don't need to know who this is. You just need to know that you're going to get your comeuppance. You're about to be punished and removed out of the way. Because all these people do, if you can call them people, these subhuman, evil, warmongering, oligarch, Plutarch, lying sack of crap, what else can they be? They call them many things in prophecies and in the ancient writings. They exist today, and those are the ones that are destroying the planet for all of us. Well, each one of them has a bullet or whatever it's going to take to, you know, give us justice. So, thanks for listening, and that's a little explanation from me on the mutations and why it has to help you hammer this home into your acceptance and your awareness. They're already eating contaminated radioactive seafoods in California and the rest of the United States. We're not being warned. The women that are eating this, or the men, if they choose to have children afterwards in the next year or so, there will be mutations. These are the things. Luckily, my children were born before, but they are still susceptible up until about anywhere from 6 years old to 12 years old. They're super sensitive. As an adult, you don't have to worry as much. It's more easier to survive. Your body is already formed and hardened and resistant. Children, it's much more difficult for them, and that's why I have to do this also for the children. They cannot defend themselves against these people and their radioactiveness.